Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 18, Reunion Part 1.
Welcome, new subscribers. Hopefully, y'all enjoy our last video. Everybody who haven't subscribed, hopefully you subscribe to this video. I believe we're going to do a good job with this reunion, but I want to address our response to Juan. I see a lot of people in the comments, which is very interesting, basically agreeing with Juan on his perspective, which you are free to, about how Carla did not come there basically wife material. Mm-hmm. She quit her job. She didn't have a place to stay, didn't have a car, didn't know how to clean and all these things. And I just wonder, what do y'all think marriage is? Nobody comes into marriage fully prepared. And I think that is an overall problem with how we view marriage and even how we view the show Married at First Sight. We want to come on here and we want to produce ourselves. We want to self-produce instead of be married, mm-hmm. right? And just to give a response to what everybody's saying about how Carla was a wifey material, before she lost that job, before Juan found out that she didn't know how to clean and cook and things of that nature, they was on the second day of the honeymoon, and he planned a whole day for David and did not consider her at all and told her to her face, "I forgot you was here." Mm-hmm. Before he found out that she lost her job and things of that nature, when she had her stuff in the storage unit, he said that you can sell your stuff on Facebook Market. Mm-hmm. That is not a considerable way to go about things. Mm-hmm. One thing I will hope that we would do is that when it comes to marriage, especially since we are married and mm-hmm. things like that, you will learn that the more I look at my wife, if she is basically a mirror of basically, oh, I need to change me. Mm-hmm. Right? When we look at each other, we hope that you know what, instead of me judging you and going at what you fall short in, you know what, I could be more considerate. I could be more patient. I could give myself fully to the process, because I tell you this, there's not a lot of situations in the real world to where you can marry someone and they are experts at your call at hand and foot for you if you need to talk things out. Mm-hmm. He didn't use the tools. It's his choice to use the tools. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go to this reunion where Madison is basically mental.
So we have the whole cast on stage. We find out that Camille and Thomas are still married.
Yeah.
They got a new place. They did well living together in their little 1-bedroom apartment.
Hey, I liked it.
Michelle turned 40. She's having fun living life.
Happy birthday.
MM says she's building her family and focusing on her career. Mm-hmm. She is still with Brandon. They've gone through ups and downs, but it's so much better having a partner.
Wait a minute. Stop right there, because
okay.
I have to address that, right? Mm-hmm. I understand everybody go through ups and downs, but it feels like you wanted to do some recreational downs.
I was like, are these some foreseeable downs?
Yeah.
Some downs we could have avoided.
Yeah, and
with time.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, her comment right here basically saying, we've been through ups and downs, but it's so much better just going through it with a partner, right?
Right.
This reminds me of a conversation she had with Michelle during the season about basically, she was talking about Ikechi, but I want to compare what she said. She basically said, listen, I've been through it with worse guys. Ikechi is nothing, mm-hmm. right? And I think that's her mindset of basically, hey, look, I've been through worse. And she even gave credence to what I'm saying right here about, hey, when I put my mind to something, we're going to get through it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think she ignores the red flags because to her, she's on go. And I kind of can see how she views life in the sense of, as long as I have somebody to go through, no matter if they are Brandon, Ikechi, or anybody of that type of personality to where they are trash, in my opinion, talk about Ikechi specifically. I think she's just like, as long as there is a person by my side, I'll be okay. And I'm like, I think there are certain situations in life to where, you know what, solo dolo may be the way to go.
Yeah.
And maybe a partner, especially a bad partner, is not the way to go.
And you shouldn't measure your strength by how much you're willing to take and willing to endure. You can definitely endure as much as you want to, mm-hmm. but if you want to save yourself some time, energy, and stress, save yourself.
100%.
So,
especially since I learned a long time ago, you're not as strong as you think you are. Mm. We all have a breaking point. You know?
So Ikechi isn't going to tell us if he's dating again. He's been traveling for music and art.
Okay.
Juan and Carla hang out. They get coffee sometimes. Juan is dating. Carla is not dating anyone serious, mm-hmm. But she is out there dating.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We learned that Juan is in a relationship.
Nice.
Alan met someone through a matchmaker before the show. Apparently, they broke things off in order for him to go on mafs, but they ended up finding their way back to each other. David moved into Madison's place. He says that he got an investment property, a house, and they celebrated their 1-year anniversary.
Oh, what is your thoughts on that? Because, he said everything, with Madison. Yeah. I have moved out of my mama's basement, and it sounds like with this investment house that they are partners in this.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. To me, I mean, when I said it, I was just like, of course he moved in Madison's place because Madison wasn't about to move into the basement. She wasn't. So, and if this is real partnership, and I hate to say it because of the way they got together, but if this is real partnership, then, you're willing to work with your partner in the ways that they lack so that way you guys can be strong together. Hopefully, so if this is what they're going to do in order to secure their future, that's great. I think it's dumb to get an investment property with somebody that you're not married to.
Come on.
Because you really have no commitment to them, and who knows what the fallout will be if things end up going awry.
Give me back my house.
But hopefully Madison's name is the only name on the investment property to save her a headache.
Okay. Well, hold on. What if he put some change into it? How come he can have his name on there?
He can keep his little 2 cents.
Okay. You wildin'. Okay.
Kevin asked when things first started to heat up because he's trying to get the timeline.
Yeah, come on.
They refused to give us the timeline.
Why?
Madison says in the gym that does not say when, that says where, and they're doing it on purpose. It's annoying. And she says about maybe like the third weekend, they talked about his family, deep private things. She saw a softer side of him and she could see herself with him. David says from the honeymoon, he thought, why didn't Madison walk down the aisle? He was asking for advice from Madison, cousin Denise, in order to figure out how to make his relationship work. Now, giving me information about, the interest was from the honeymoon or we started feeling each other around the third week. I wanted to know, when did you guys go from, hi, nice to meet you, my name's David, to I want to lick you up and eat you down. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the timeline of how things progressed to that?
Yeah. And that is what's frustrating because at the end of the day, y'all are together.
Yeah.
Like my whole point about it is, why are you trying to save face a year later?
They talk about how cowardly they are, so I guess they're just cowards.
Like I guess. I really just don't understand why. Like, just say the timeline. Alan's over it, and when I say over it, it means like, I'm not saying he like y'all, but I'm just saying like it's a year later. You might as well just put everything out on the table and things of that nature, because after this reunion, y'all don't really have to talk no more. You know what I mean?
Alan asked, at what point were you guys deciding to reach out to, your friend's wife? He's asking David. And David says a couple weeks after coming back to Chicago.
Okay.
Alan said, we had beers, just the two of us. David could have talked to him and they really effed him over. David says as a man, he should have been straight up with Alan.
Yeah.
Alan looked like the fool in the long run. He didn't think that they were those types of people. And David tells him, look, bro, I shot my shot.
No, that's not acceptable. And your answer is a lie, because all of this episode just gonna be semantics with a side of lies. This basically what it's gonna be. There's no way that you thought I'm gonna shoot my shot 2 weeks into the process once y'all got back into Chicago, right? From the honeymoon. First of all, if we gonna go with that semantics, if we gonna go with those lies, let's go with your initial thought of what you said at the honeymoon. You said at the honeymoon, I was wondering why the experts didn't match me with this person. First of all, like, we need people that would take Married at First Sight seriously.
Yeah.
Right? First of all, I'm gonna say this again because I'm maybe people didn't hear me in the last video. Pastor Kyle, Dr. Pierre, Dr. Pepper are not riding around the streets of Chicago in an army tank, drafting folks.
Right.
They are not kidnapping folks and making people do Married at First Sight. Let's stop right there. Right? So the fact that you are married to Michelle, I understand Michelle, this is the early stages. I understand she cried in the bathroom. I understand that she's not being the best wife. But this was before Michelle really started turning up the heat on being a bad wife, right? This is just the beginning stages, right? How are you newly married, right? You committed to this process, right? And then you look over at someone else's wife and be like, why didn't they match me with her? Like what are you talking about? You are newly married.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And maybe they need to go back to the old way, to where they don't, guess what? Y'all not gonna meet each other until weeks and weeks and weeks and down the road and things of that nature. Because That's ridiculous. You get what I'm saying?
Kevin asked, when did Michelle's skepticism spark? And she says, definitely from the food text.
Yeah.
She kept pushing because she doesn't like being lied to. David was hoping that she would just drop it after he lied to her the second time.
Well, listen here. Maybe he should have lied 5 more times. Maybe. I don't know.
Then we see a clip of Madison saying that she doesn't know why she's being brought into the David Michelle situation.
Yeah.
Michelle's being immature. She doesn't have anything to hide. She wishes Michelle could have brought this up off camera. And Madison says that, honestly, like, I'm not even really trying to rehash things from a year ago. And Michelle was like, well, that's what this is for. This is a reunion to rehash things.
Yeah.
Then Madison says, well, then let's just light the fire and let's burn this whole thing to the ground.
Nobody's not even asking all that. Literally, Kevin's question was, when did y'all start? No one told you to be an arsonist or anything of that nature. You get what I'm saying? Madison is doing it, and that's why I really don't understand this whole self-producing thing that's going on in the whole reality spectrum of shows, to where it's like, ask me off camera. Why?
Right.
The infidelity was on camera. So why? Like, this is a reality TV show. This is a social experiment, as one would like to say, and things of that nature. So this is a conflict. We need to see the resolve. Don't like it just shows that, Madison, I really don't understand why you're mad and who you're mad at.
Exactly.
Like it's confusing. She's mental to me.
Yeah, she's mad because she's being held accountable for her actions, and her daddy don't make her do it, so why should anybody else?
That is facts.
So Michelle was talking about David's text for weeks. Neither one of them said anything. Madison didn't say anything because she didn't think Michelle's reaction would have been receptive. Madison says that the version of the clip of that wasn't who she is, and she wishes they could have all sat down, all 4 together. Yeah. You had the opportunity, Madison.
Stop it. Exactly.
You absolutely had the opportunity, but you said, hey, David, go talk to Alan.
So many times. So many times. Yep.
Michelle asks, why did she do what she did? And Madison says, she really did try at first. Alan just felt like, just put in the effort for the 8 weeks and then do what you want afterwards.
Dude, like, what's funny about that part?
What's that?
When Madison said that she really did put forth effort in trying to be with Alan, everybody, they did a close-up on Carla's face, but literally everybody rolled their eyes.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is, this is a year later, right? We are not under no contract obligations or anything like that. You don't have to film no more after this reunion. You can go back to your normalcy of going to Target, doing whatever y'all do. Why are you still lying?
Yeah, and nobody's going to beat you up.
No.
I mean, just say what happened.
And speaking of beating up, I would have played the clip of Madison saying that she could beat up Michelle, and I would have challenged her right then and there and said, I heard you want to put hands on me.
That's a whole different show, honey.
I heard you want to put hands on me. Listen here, baddies of Married at First Sight. Exactly. I don't care. I heard you say you want to put hands on me, so I'll say, come put hands on me then. It is what it is.
Then the question is asked, how often were you guys in contact away from the cameras? And Madison said they talked every day. I feel like if you talked every day, then you should be able to find out what day that things started turning from friendly to, romantic.
Immediately, yeah.
So how many of those dates were y'all spending time together? Madison apparently was with her friends almost every single time. The night of the transactional comment, she did meet up with David after she called Amanda. Even that I don't believe.
I don't believe any of it.
Because I feel like if she's with her friends almost every single time, so that means you were with David sometimes. And honestly, you were probably with your friends maybe for 20 minutes and then met up with David afterwards.
Come on now.
I'm just kind of like, stop playing.
Come on now. Semantics with a side of lies. You're right.
And Mem didn't think that David would do that to Michelle. Carla understands the pressures of the moment. The women would go out, they would joke, and they even joked about, if you want my husband, you could take him. She says there was plenty of opportunities for honesty to be had. Juan couldn't trust David after seeing what went down. Yeah. Thomas felt stupid for defending David. It's a respect thing, especially since David hung out with Alan more than any of the guys.
Yeah.
Akechi said he saw it from day one. He saw David doing cardio, stuff he doesn't normally do. He was slowly changing to be closer to Madison, but who cares? Y'all are in love. I don't even believe Akechi.
Here's the thing about it. Everybody want to play the result and things of that nature. So
like I do. I just didn't say anything because I don't talk with y'all.
Well, okay. Thank you.
Then stop talking now. How about that?
It just is what it is.
Then they ask if they have any regrets. Madison says she regrets not speaking up. She doesn't regret following her heart.
Okay.
David apologizes to Michelle because he could have been honest. He was trying to protect Madison. And he also apologizes to Alan. Madison and David are wearing promise rings. Apparently Juan was there.
Now stop right there. This is very important to me because I'm going to question Juan, right? Everybody want to talk. We have this whole thing that just that happened on Love is Blind, to where everybody said no to their spouses, or majority of people said no to their spouses because of their political views, because of how they view the world and things of that nature. And they said no and made this performative thing on camera, but then off camera they wanted to still date. Right. We talk about Virginia. We talking about Sarah. We talk about all these people that said no because I believe in this and I believe in that. But whole time you ghosted me. Why did you ghost me? Okay, performative, right? One, you just said that you can trust David based on how he was acting, but yet you over here being cameraman. I really don't understand what people mean. Like, okay, so what does it mean that you can't trust them? Does that mean you can't be friends with them? Does that mean you can't be around? Because here's the thing about it. The only victim, and I'm going to say it again, the only victim in all of this is Alan, right? Even Michelle would not consider herself a victim. Michelle said out her mouth that, hey, the part that I was mad at is that y'all was lying to my face. Right? Facts, right? If you want to be mad at that, be mad at that. But the whole thing of, oh my goodness, David, I can't trust you and things of that nature and like, how could you do that? But whole time you over there talking about, oh, look at the nice couple. Look at the QC couple and things of that nature. It's like, what does it mean when, if I say I can't trust you, that means I can't be around you.
Exactly. That's what it mean to me.
That's what it mean to me.
But marriage means something to everybody.
It's a social experiment.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a social experiment, I guess. It is what it is.
So words mean whatever they want. Whatever people want them to mean.
Social experiment.
But yeah, I thought that the promise rings was stupid. I was just like, this man is doggone near 40 talking about a promise ring. I'm just like, but Madison sure got her one.
But here's the thing about it.
This is stupid as hell.
It's called a fake commitment.
Yeah.
What are you promising? Are you promising to commit eventually? Like, if you want to really put your neck out there and actually want to be married and things of that nature, because David said that on decision day that, hey, guess what? I see myself marrying Madison. Then guess what? Be a man and step up.
Yeah.
This is now a process to where, guess what? Pastor Kyle is not picking your spouse for you, and Dr. P and Dr. Pepper. You said you follow your heart, and Madison is the girl for you, and vice versa. Then make it real.
Yeah.
Get engaged.
But the thing is, as much as they lie, they could be married for all we know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let's go.
In the back, Michelle was talking about how she wanted to go off because Madison was so defensive, and she just cannot believe the audacity of that woman. I can't either.
Yeah.
We get to Camille and Thomas. So they went to London for their 1-year anniversary, had a great time. He knew this would work a couple of weeks after the honeymoon because she was the complete package of what he wanted. Camille brought the swag out of Thomas. Camille tried to sing his praises because she never meant to come across that she was dragging him. He stepped into it, and look at him now.
Stop right there. I hate backhand.
He's got a slit in his hair and he's got earrings.
I hate.
He's swaggerlicious.
I hate backhand compliment. If there's anything that you want to make sure that you get backhanded by me, give me a backhanded compliment first.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the thing about it, Camille. Right. Y'all are married. Y'all are actually a year into this. Y'all are supposed to be the leading couple, or rather the only couple that got married this season, right? I do not like the whole idea or even the sentiment, because I ain't gonna put it on you 100%. I'll put just 50% on you. I don't like the sentiment of, well, are y'all happy? And then you kind of give like a backhand compliment of like, well, I guess we are, and things like that. She's basically making it seem like, you know what, he had his problems, but guess what, I got him right. And I'm just like, I don't like that type of speech. And I think those type of speeches or those type of sentiments early in the marriage is concerning, at least to me, right? Guess what? He was already wearing suits, right? Cause everybody talk about, oh, look at him with his swag, with his suits. Even when he came in on decision day, he was already wearing suits. His closet was just full of suits and Jordans. You get what I'm saying? So outside of that, outside of the earrings, I do like the earrings, and outside of the part in the hair, listen here, just love him for him. Don't make it seem like you fixed him to love him now. He was Thomas. Thomas is still the same Thomas. You even said you're now falling in love with the corny jokes and things of that nature. So don't make it seem like someone's twisting your arm to love Thomas. That's your husband.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, number one, I think that part of that is Camille's like personality. Yeah. I think that she likes to have this sarcastic, jabby kind of way of discussing her relationship, because even when Kevin asked if they were still together, she was trying to make the joke of, well, I don't know. And Kevin was just like, why do you do that? Like, why you make it seem like you're not with your husband? Like, Kevin that's not funny. That.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it. Kevin did do that. See, look, it only works if both of y'all are sarcastic, but you could totally see Thomas is not on that wave. Thomas view you as like a prize, as someone
he's proud of.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Why? Like, I don't understand why you don't return that sentiment, at least in public.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's just weird.
But the thing is, though, like, I agree that they should have had those conversations if there was an issue of attraction in order to get to a better place.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because they are strangers coming together and they are building on all of these different things. I think the issue is that we felt like it was kind of dragged out a little bit, but part of me believes that production needed them to have an issue, so they were telling her to talk about what an issue is.
Maybe.
But I feel like it was fine to talk about it. He did make some tweaks and adjustments, which seemed to help for their relationship. And, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
So they talk about how being black isn't a monolith, race and identity. Yeah. Thomas has always been true to himself. He wanted to present his true self. They had those tough discussions, but it was needed to break the surface and understand where each other was coming from.
Okay.
Camille just laid out what was on her mind, and they worked through their issues. We watched them explore their intimacy journey. Camille appreciated that, things were allowed to happen naturally. They didn't have to jump into things physically immediately.
Yeah.
Then it was asked, did the intimacy help you guys grow and bond? Thomas says yes. What has changed you in the last year? Camille says that their conflict resolution is really healthy. Yeah. They can talk about anything. They have tough conversations and still be good with each other.
Nice.
Thomas thinks that the consistency and prioritizing the relationship is going great. He let his guard down. That was hard for him. He cried a lot in this experience, but he feels like his vulnerability is something that gave him strength. He wanted her to know who he really was, and he didn't care what anyone else thought.
Stop right there. I want to make a complete parallel to Juan.
Okay.
Right? Since a lot of people...
Since it's fresh on our mind.
Since this is... A lot of people are from the Juan video, right? This is what happens when you fully give yourself to the process. Right? I'm not saying that you will be married. Right. I'm not even, because at the end of the day, Thomas still had the full 100% power to say no and to be completely divorced from the process. Right. But he said, hey, this experience is hard. I don't want to dismiss that. I'm sure it is hard. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
That's how hard it is. Right. But he said, I cried the most I've ever cried. Right. Because he's given himself completely to a process that is abnormal, right? And guess what? There are things about this relationship that is not easy.
Right.
There's this girl, and granted, I understand that you may not have been attracted to Carla and things of that nature, but I would think that if someone is willing to sign up for Married at First Sight, that attraction wouldn't be number one on their list.
Right.
That's what I would think, because Married at First Sight is basically marrying someone blind.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I would think that attraction is not number one. If attraction is number one on your list, then you shouldn't sign up for Married at First Sight. Again, I would say, Pastor Cal did not draft you to Married at First Sight. You signed up for Married at First Sight. And guess what? It catch you signed up twice.
Right.
So I don't want to, I'm not giving y'all no bail out of jail for this whole thing. I wasn't attracted to this person. They don't sign up for the show. Right. Yeah. But Thomas, he is someone who gave himself fully to the process. He had a wife at the time who was basically telling him, hey, I'm not feeling your swag. I'm not feeling how black you are, things like that. Just put things in just paraphrasing things like that. And she said, look, I was just expressing what was on my mind. Right. And he said it was hard for me to go through that. But guess what? Now they made it to the other side. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the other side is promising to where it's like, you know what? You know what? I love you now, you know? But what I'm saying is when you fully give yourself to the process, you can learn a lot about yourself and you can learn a lot about the person you're with. And that's what I'm just saying. Thomas gave himself to the process and I give him full respect for that.
Yeah.
Full respect. And guess what? As a man, I don't cry as much as Thomas, but guess what? I haven't done anything as hard as Thomas. This is hard.
Yeah.
And I give him respect for that.
Yeah. So their families are getting along. The age gap is not an issue.
Yeah.
We see the unseen footage of them trying to take care of a baby, and Thomas had his knee and his elbow in the baby face.
Oh my goodness, man.
They're looking to maybe start trying for a kid in a year or whenever the time is right, but they're still working on their foundation.
Hey, look, I'm not going. Listen, Thomas, I understand. Putting a pamper and trying to do all the swallowing to a baby is hard, right? You did not have to put your knee on. Listen, you did not have to rest the baby, okay? But I do appreciate the conflict and the resolve we saw in the marriage with Thomas and Camille, and hopefully, they continue to grow. Of course, the first year I'm not saying that it gets harder every year, but every year has new challenges. And guess what? You just learn to fight those challenges together. I like the fact that Camille said, hey, we actually have healthy conflicts. We know how to disagree and agree on things. And that's what you learn. You really learn.
Yeah. So we get to Emem and Akechi.
Oh, boy.
They both agree the wedding was great. We see an unseen clip of them cuddled up, really Emem on top of Akechi. He said that the attraction is there, but that's just the beginning. They're going to get to know each other before getting to know each other.
Yeah. And listen, I promise you, I am not reverse engineering. I am not reverse engineering. I was the one who said when they first got together that Akechi is not into this woman, right?
You did say that.
Go back to the playlist and go watch back from episode 1. Even in that clip where they was cuddled up, I could tell Akechi was not into that woman.
Yeah, but I think that's the bad part about this show is that the contestants lie.
Oh, no.
They lied.
Big lie.
They lied to get on the show. They lie while they're on the show. They lie about the status of their connection. So there's no real way to actually save it, come in, tweak things because you guys aren't telling the truth. Him to sit up there and say he found her attractive, even when Pastor Cal asked if the attraction was there point blank, and he said, oh yeah, my wife is bad.
That's what
whatever
he
said.
That's a direct
quote.
I'm
just like, me or the experts or anybody else, I'm not going to dig to get the truth when you are hell-bent on lying. Lie and lay on your bed. So that's true. So then Kevin asked, when did the chemistry change? MM said when they came back to Chicago, the relationship became surface level. Akechi said that they were around each other in a different space, not riding the high of the wedding and the honeymoon, not understanding that they learn each other differently because he's art and she's science. I wish y'all didn't give Akechi words.
Man, I'm about to say, man.
I wish y'all didn't. Let the man mumble and bumble on stage like he normally does because he's just using what he's been told. He doesn't actually think this stuff.
And you ain't science and you ain't art. I don't care what you are. You're a human.
Yeah, and you are actively and purposefully being defensive and difficult and not trying to be straightforward.
Yes.
And that's a lot different than art and science. You weren't trying to answer this lady's question.
And at the end of the day, I may offend some people here. All of art is not beautiful. So you could call yourself art all you want. I can still call it trash.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So this whole she's science and she's art as if she's not a human, as if she don't got the capability to be art. You get what I'm saying? I am a human. You know what's the greatest power I have? To change.
Yes.
I changed when I got married.
Yeah.
I changed when I was dating. There's nothing wrong with change. You get what I'm saying? That's how you evolve.
He learned that the questions that she asked was just her way of learning someone. He sees that he was stubborn and they just didn't mesh well.
Okay.
And Mem respects his opinion that they are two different types of learners, but she wishes things didn't go down the way that they did.
Okay.
We see the clip of him calling Mem aggressive at the house party. Akechi now states he would describe her differently. He was trying to say she was bossy, a go-getter. He wishes that he would have said that she is going after things she wanted and achieving them. And Mem says that is a better response and would have been received better. As a business owner and a black woman, it's a way of taking her down a notch by calling her aggressive.
And guess what? It would have been received better if that's what he meant, but that's not what he meant, because what are we having today for dinner, guys? We having a whole platter entree of lies or a whole entree of semantics with a side of lies. Right? He did not meant to say or mean to say that she was a go-getter and things of that nature, because guess what? He wrote a whole book. He know what words mean.
And also when he went on to Keisha and Keisha asked him if he would have used a different word, and he said, no, I stand by aggressive.
Exactly.
So why are we talking to him?
That's what I'm saying. I
don't want to talk to him. I get this a reunion, so we got to give him his little, 5 minutes or whatever. But I'm just like, this man is unserious in every single way.
And that's what I'm saying. So, say that she's a bossy and go-getter, even when it was given the whole aggressive, you basically said, well, actually I meant aggressive in a sexual way. I really didn't even mean it in that way. So it's like, obviously you've been coached stuff of how to the answer. You're still being avoidant, but you're being less avoidant than you were on the after party and even on the show. But whole time, don't try to say what I really meant is that she's a go-getter, because there's ambitious. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There's words that actually mean that, hey, she's a boss. You get what I'm saying? So it's like all this whole thing of aggressive and things of that nature. He knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to basically just throw a little salt on the wound and things of that nature.
Yeah. So Kevin tells him, well, you asked for Michelle Obama and you got one. Well, he feels like Barack and Michelle are PB and J.
Yeah.
And Kevin was like, you do know they had their ups and downs, right?
Of course.
And Mem knows that her work intimidates men. They try to belittle her, make her feel small, and Akechi did that. He said that he didn't try to belittle her.
What?
Akechi, we see the clip of how he talks about how Mem violated his consent. Akechi meant he wanted to get to know her before getting physical, and they didn't get to that point yet. Fine.
But you took her hand, and basically, if we're gonna go with violation, right? If David is over here shooting his shot as that's a lie, basically like I want to eat you up, and that's a shot, right? Then what do we call what you did? I would call it a crime. You get what I'm saying? If you go take her hand and put it on your junk and things of that nature, and then try to accuse her of being aggressive, I would think that's an aggressive move and things of that nature. But the whole idea of this, like, you know what, she violated my consent. You gave her mixed signals. You gave her the idea that we on go, that this is what I want you to touch when we in private. You get what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, when she followed through, you're like, you violating me. It's weak. I'm sorry. It's weak.
And Kevin asked, so what did you say to him when he said no? Or what did Akechi? She asked him why he said no. And then he deflected, saying that it was traumatizing. And then he became very hot and cold.
Wow.
So, I mean, maybe he had some traumatic experiences around sex or sexuality of why he was so sensitive. Or maybe it was because he just wasn't into MM that way. Who knows? He's never going to tell us.
No, I think he told us. He don't find her attractive. Like, yeah, but there is this habit of.
But when you go around lying, then I just kind of don't know what to believe.
But at the same time, I'm not giving him like that. He's traumatized through sexual experience. Listen, speak up or say nothing, right?
Yeah.
My whole thing is, I'm not giving him no more bail to get out of jail.
Agreed.
Right? If I'm not giving him no bail to get out of jail. So the whole idea that he could come on here and do what he did and then say out of his same mouth that I did not find her attractive, going back to, if we go back seasons ago with Chris and Paige and things of that nature, to where he could sleep with this girl consistently while at the same time insulting her appearance and things like that, not thinking that she's attractive. It's like, okay, so she's a tool to you. So basically she's an item to you. She's not a person. She's not a human. And you did not treat her that way.
Right.
So like at the end of the day, like I'm not going to give him, like, maybe he got some things in his past. I don't care, because you know why? He did not say it. Exactly. So the same way as they gave him art and science, I'm not giving him past traumas. No.
And Kevin asked him, so why didn't you say that you weren't attracted when you were given the opportunity in the process? He didn't want to embarrass anyone. And Mem tells him, you did embarrass me, and we could have had a conversation about the lack of attraction. Yeah. But instead you decided to give me mixed signals. And he apologizes for the mixed signals. Okay. And Mem accepts it. She has forgiven a lot of what has transpired. Then we see the letter that she read to him, the letter to her departed. She meant what she said in that moment, but she doesn't mean it now. She feels like she was kind of harsh, just about wishing him the worst. Yeah. Akechi wasn't really paying attention. He was just ready to leave.
Well, truth be told, I saw that.
Yeah. Anything anyone would have done differently. Akechi wishes that he was more open about his thoughts. He felt like he was, but in his own way. And Kevin told him, you were confusing to everybody.
Yes, you were.
Akechi says that it was a lot behind the scenes, walking on eggshells at home. He didn't feel heard. And when he feels he's being disrespected, he shuts down. And Kevin asked him, did you say any of that? And he said no. And Kevin was like, well, that's a teachable moment where you can stand to speak up as a 40-something-year-old grown person.
Come on now.
Speak up so that people know what's going on. And Mem didn't know at all what he was talking about because he never said it.
And that's the funny thing about it. Like Kevin look over to and Mem and say, hey, do you have an idea of what he's talking about? I don't have a clue in hell. right? Because he just talking now, right? Yeah. And this is what I'm talking about. When you sign up for Married at First Sight, I would think, listen here, if you choose not to use the tools, that's on you. Don't criticize the process, right? Trust me, Married at First Sight has flaws that it needs to tweak to to where we can get more than one happy couple. You know what I'm saying? You have 5 couples and you only got one couple that's married. At the end of it, that's a 20% in each season. I think we want to get at least a 40 to 60 at least, right? But what I'm saying is there's tools there are counselors there are therapists there are pastors there, you have families and things of that nature. If you choose not to use the tools, then guess what? Don't be like, well, this process is hard, it's a social experiment and things like that. No, you chose not to talk. Catchy?
Yeah.
You did not find her attractive, right? And guess what? Married at First Sight, I would think that the experts, right, would, and this is me actually giving credit to the experts. Hey, you know what? Since Married at First Sight is basically a blind wedding, one of the main problems that we probably will face is attraction. And guess what? We will be ready to address that.
Exactly.
So why didn't you bring that to the experts? Why did you not bring that to your spouse? This is season 18. This is not season 1. They dealt with someone like you before.
Because he didn't want to work on a relationship.
Exactly. They dealt with someone like you before.
He didn't want to do the work.
You're not special enough. Your problems is not special enough and things of that nature. Y'all are basically, you're normal.
Yeah.
You're normal as I don't know what. So that's the thing that's frustrating me is that guess what? We got to watch a 2-hour, 2-part reunion. This is part 1 and we are not getting nowhere.
Yeah.
In any clarity.
And not on Kevin's fault because he's asking the questions. Everybody likes to lie.
Respect to Kevin. I know as a host, you just can't leave the show in the quicksand. You got to push it. You got to keep it going.
Yeah.
At the same time, this whole thing of talking about, what I'm into is a Michelle, but not this Michelle because she's ugly to me. Then take it to the experts. Take it to your spouse. You know what I'm saying?
So we asked, what has Mem learned? She's learned to love as hard as the other person loves her. She wishes she would have given up easier to save herself some time. She needs to stop, look, listen, pay attention to herself moving forward. And Mem doesn't give up on what she commits to. So no matter how bad it gets, she was going to finish these 8 weeks.
That's a problem.
Ikechi wouldn't apply for this experience again. He wasn't ready for this type of marriage. This was an experiment and it didn't work. And Mem says that life has been good with Brandon. They've merged their families. It's been great. He says he's been dating and he still wants his Michelle Obama.
Well, you ain't Barack, so you ain't gonna get no Michelle Obama. Truth be told, if he was to meet in Michelle Obama, guess what?
He would hate her.
He would not like her either because
she's too strong.
She's gonna hold him accountable and things of that nature. Now, I want to go back to what MM said. MM said something about she learned to love as hard as the other person loves her. Listen here, no, don't do that. Right? I understand what she meant, but I can understand how she may take that to where she may end up with someone like a Brandon. Right? Because if someone is love bombing you, right, you would think that they truly love you.
Right.
And then you will respond to the love bomb with love. With actual love. You get what I'm saying? So I would say always put it under a filter. Use your question. Get that answer stick out. You get what I'm saying? Even though Ikechi may say you hit me over the answer stick. Listen here, how you get to know somebody is through questions, through actually time, patience. Because at the end of the day, actions do speak louder than words. So love is an action. Right? Love is tested. Love is patient. Love is kind. If you want to go through all of that, right? So if someone is love bombing you and you are a 12-day fiance, I would not. You would say, guess what? Brandon loves me, and I'm getting the love that I didn't get from Ikechi. And if you're using Ikechi as the measuring stick, then you still don't really know what love is.
Right.
So that's why I would say pull back just well. It's kind of too late now because she's engaged to Brandon. But I'm just saying pull back a little bit, right? Give it time. Patience is on your side. You get what I'm saying? And then eventually mask will fall off their face.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So we move on to Madison and Alan.
Oh, man.
She enjoyed her wedding day. She tried, but she got in her head and then pulled back.
Okay.
There were certain compatibility issues and it was hard to try to force things. It was a pressure cooker also by living together.
Yeah, because I don't like living with nobody that I don't like completely.
Alan could sense that she was tense. He says we're married. He thought there was hope and that they were working to find a spark. Kevin asked if she gave it her best shot, and she says Alan gave it his best shot.
Okay.
She regrets dealing with a lot of things internally. She could have given him the benefit of the doubt to make her feel more comfortable. Conversations could have helped, but she wasn't being fully honest about where she was.
Yeah.
She saw them more as friends, and she didn't communicate that and couldn't get past that to get to the romance. Kevin asked if her energy was fully on Alan, would that have changed things? Alan thinks that it could have given them a better chance.
Yes.
Madison is curious how their experience would have been if they didn't interact with the other couples in the group setting. She felt like being around the other women talking a bit bad about their husbands made her anxious, and it wasn't good for her.
Stop right there for a second, right? We're not gonna make your infidelity a production problem now, right? I wish we wasn't around the other couples, so I wouldn't even saw David. And then when I'm around the women, I'm hearing them talk bad about their marriages and the struggles that they're going through. So it made me anxious. Stop it. You're a grown up. I understand that Blair want to up the age to where no 20-year-olds is on the show and things of that nature. We're going to start at 30 or maybe
35.
35. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm all for it, right? But my whole thing is no. This is another passive aggressive way of her not taking accountability for her actions. She chose as a married woman to look at another guy. Period. Because at the end of the day, even if they don't put you around the castmates, you're still around other guys, because guess what? You said every night you hung out with your friends. So when it came to your friends and being around in the bar and things like that, the first night in Chicago rather, you did not even stay the night in the apartment. You went to the bar.
Yeah, and also I don't believe her talking about she was anxious when the other women were having like their B sesh, talking bad about their husbands, because I'm sure you were talking as well about Alan.
Exactly.
You were definitely participating, and outside of the filming sessions, you were going out with the cast. So it's not like it was really that big of an issue for you to be around the other cast. You just lack self-control with other people's husbands.
Facts.
So the question is, do you regret that you didn't get to give him your full attention?
Yeah.
Madison doesn't regret falling in love with David. Okay. Alan did deserve better than what she gave him, and he continued to show her grace, which she appreciates.
Okay.
Madison felt bad by how much effort he was putting in, and she was not putting in the same effort. She should have just told him she didn't involve him because she was scared.
Okay.
Alan tried to nurture open conversation. Madison kept saying that she didn't want to hurt his feelings, but Alan didn't know how censored their communication was from her side. He thought they were being honest with each other.
Well, I'll put it like this. They wasn't being honest to the therapist, to like the experts and things like that, because whenever Madison was in front of the expert, you were like, oh yeah, we're trying.
Yeah.
So like that's why I'm like, even if she's not being honest to you, you're there during those therapy sessions as well, Alan. You should have spoke up during those therapy sessions and be like, well, actually this is our problems. I know Madison's trying to say that everything's good and she's trying, but she didn't come home the first night that she was in the apartments.
Yeah, and I think the thing is too, when Alan would mention something, she would explain things away and he would just be quiet. Press the issue a little bit, Alan. Press it a little bit. Kevin asked, did she sometimes go upstairs to talk to David? When did all of this really start? Because now Kevin's asking everybody individually, because we're doing interrogations right now, okay? Madison says that they never hung out in each other's apartments alone. They spent mornings in the gym every day, and they bonded. Something in her knew it was real with David, because she risked her character and her integrity, and she doesn't know why she would do that if it wasn't real. Ho do ho things. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
It could be real, or you could have just, been having a good time.
Who knows?
So who really knows? Alan says that she could have and should have been upfront. It wouldn't have worked out. It felt like a betrayal. Madison agrees that it was a betrayal because she lied. Alan was hurt and angry when he found out. He ended up getting over it. He was not going to let it impact his love life moving forward. Finding someone else did help reassure him about just how great of a guy he actually was.
Yeah.
Madison wishes the best for him. She's sorry she didn't treat him the way he deserved. Alan wishes the same for her. And then they talk about how she's going to meet his new girlfriend or whatever. And I'm just like, y'all don't need to meet. It's really unnecessary. And she's like, she's excited to meet me too. I wouldn't.
Why?
Why would I want to meet this fake lady?
Well, first of all, let's start with this. Like, once this process is over, take me out the group chat.
Exactly.
Take me out the group chat, because I don't understand why. Like, I got married. I was on this show as Alan, punching cabinets, right? Breaking mugs and things of that nature, crying, burning letters, putting the fire out with my hand and things of that nature, right? I had to take an Uber home that night and left my Jaguar at the compound because I was so angry that I didn't want to be in the same place. And now we're on some, you're going to meet my new girlfriend? Alan, boundaries, brother.
Yeah.
Boundaries. No. none of y'all actually gonna meet my new girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So all the ladies are on stage.
Yeah.
Camille is a good friend to all of the ladies. MM's engagement was shocking, but they're all glad to see her happy. We see the video of Carla telling Madison what she did was grimy. Madison appreciates that the women held her accountable.
No, she don't.
Carla thought it was weird when David and Madison disappeared when she lost her phone, but she didn't want to put the vibe out there if she wasn't completely sure.
Okay.
Camille likes and cares for everyone, and she wishes things would have been done differently. Michelle is still bothered because the timeline is off, but nobody's going to know the truth besides Madison and David.
Yeah.
Madison calling Michelle immature when everything she said was true makes Michelle angry as well. Madison apologized for that moment. We all said things about everyone at some point, and she doesn't blame Michelle for feeling that way. That's how Madison likes to skirt around responsibility by saying, well, we all do it. We all talk trash. We all do this. Well, we started talking trash about you once you took the husband.
Exactly.
Before that, nobody was really worried about you in the sense of that. People actually thought they were building genuine friendships.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. I think Madison is so two-faced and mean that she thinks everybody is like her, and that just wasn't the case. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
Alan, we see him telling Michelle pretty much, girl, you need to get over this. Because Michelle is like, I'm trying to do this thing, and we got to hold him accountable. And Alan is like, move on with your life.
Yeah. But listen here, Alan got a new girl. And Michelle's out here still dating. Yeah. So for Alan, I think it's easy for him to move on because he have a new person in his life. To where Michelle, she's still out here dating, and also she took it personally, like, hey, we can't let these people get away. Now, granted, for the show, for the sake of reviewing the show, I would love to have a timeline so we could actually basically back them up into a corner and make them answer us. But if they're not going to answer, they're not going to answer. We just got to keep the show going.
Right. Next, we have Michelle and David to the stage.
Uh-oh.
David had time to reflect, and he disappointed a lot of people, his appearance included.
Uh-oh.
We see the clip of David giving Michelle the tour of the basement. Michelle could not get over that. She wishes she would have reacted differently, but it wouldn't have changed her mind. At almost 40, she did not expect to date or be married to someone who lived in a basement.
That is on the experts.
David gave up a couple days after the 1 month anniversary. He was vibing with Madison behind everyone's back pretty much. Madison was angry with how they lied to her face for so long. Not that they're together. Michelle was angry with that.
Michelle was angry. Okay.
Yeah. Michelle says the lies are annoying. She believes something physical did happen between them, somewhere between that text about licking her up or whatever.
Of course.
Kevin, eating her up. Kevin believes it too. There's a facade that the relationship wasn't going on earlier, and what's the problem with clarifying the timeline? David has already said what it is, and he doesn't think that Michelle cares anyway. Kevin asks, were they together some nights when Madison came home late? Here's the moment of the truth. Were y'all together during that text message? Like, let's just put it all out on the table. David tries to say, everybody's moved on. Like, let's all move on from the situation. But we're kind of left on a cliffhanger where Kevin is trying to back David into this corner to answer the question straight.
Yeah, and here's my problem with David, because I understand that Michelle, listen here. Everybody came out there, they all look good, talking about how they was dressed and things of that nature, right? So Michelle, she looks beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Happy for you, Michelle. But guess what? I gotta be consistent. My foot gotta go back on that neck, right? And this is why I'm mad at David. What has this segment been about? David's cheating, right? David being with Madison. David, because of your immaturity, right? Because you couldn't be honest and be a man and confront Alan and confront Madison, or even just stay married, faithfully married, because that's also another thing about being married. You got to at least be faithful, right?
Yeah.
Now,
might as well be single.
Now we are completely negating the actions of Michelle early on in the marriage. We're not even talking about it. And maybe they will circle back to it in part 2. But I have a feeling that Michelle got off pretty clean of how she was treating David in the beginning scene. Now, listen. How she was treating David is not the reasons why he cheated. I'm not going to give him that. But I'm just saying it's all part of the ingredients, in my opinion. I'm not saying that David's not held 100% accountable. I'm just saying, hey, if David would have just stayed true to the process, this whole questioning with Michelle and David as a couple would have been completely different. They could have came to the reunion, Madison and David, as a couple, right? And we would have been talking here like, hey, Michelle, this is how you treat people, da 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 da. But now I feel like we're never going to get to it. We're not going to get to the truth, and that just going to leave me a life of sorrow for me because I just want someone. I just want to be seen. I just want Kevin to ask questions when it comes to Michelle's behavior, just to let me know that he sees me.
Well, we got a whole nother 2 hours,
but I don't think they gonna go there because in the previews we got Brandon asking Pastor Kyle, "Can you marry me and MM?" So that's what I feel like she's about to. I feel like she's about to get away.
Yeah.
And all I'm asking is just see me. Acknowledge my presence. See that I've been saying for over 2,000 episodes of Married at First Sight this season that Michelle's behavior has been a problem. That's all. I just want to be seen.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, David and Madison are going to stick to their lies and skirting of the truth and skirting responsibility. And, at this point, I mean, what are you going to do about it? They're not going to give us the truth, and they've shown their character to be what it is. So, it is what it is.
It's life. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We are so close to 6,000 subscribers. Guess what? I think with this video and with this community, guess what? I think we can do it with y'all.
Yes.
I think we can do it with y'all. We see y'all next time.
Bye.